All right, mic is working. Cameras are working. Pumpkin, working. We got a light. Yeah, we got a light. And I got a light on this webcam right here, so I want to make sure it's kind of on there so you guys can see. All right, took the day off yesterday because I had some things to do, but now we're back, and my chair way too tall. Let me fix that. My mic way too tall. Let me fix that. There we go. Today we are carving with a capital quotation marks, a Pui Pui Molcar, because look at all these gradient, look at these colors. It's not black and white, no. Today we are going to try and shave it. And with that, I've got these things, which, yeah, I got it like craft store for, they're like for clay. This is kind of like clay. You can just kind of go through and cut it out. So I will use a Dremel and to kind of get through the initial tough skin, and then I will slowly just kind of carve my way through the rest of it. Carve my way to victory. So rather than doing the normal just put it on, draw lines, and cut it out, I have to put it on, kind of draw lines, but cut around them just so I know where the carves kind of work. So I'll just kind of draw the general shapes, and then I'll have to just remember. And that's going to be the hardest part, remembering what line is what. These black parts, they're going to stay untouched. They're going to be pure pumpkin, baby. And then the white parts will be totally cut out, but the only parts that are completely cut out are just the kind of like dots on the eyes. Everything else is just a light, very light. And I will have to just carve my way until we get to a point that's where we want it to be. So we're just going to get going here. Let's get this top off and cleaned. I started a little bit early. I know all you pumpkin fans out there, you were probably waiting. You thought you'd have time to eat dinner, and then you're like, what the hell? It's starting early. I'm sorry. I figured this would take extra time, but I wasn't sure how much time. So like, I don't think we're going for 3 hours here or anything. And this is a nice jazzy tune. Is it going to repeat for me? Oh, it's just got some hanging off the end there. I was going to dare like use the soundtrack from the show or something. Bandai would come for me. The stream is going, right? I want to make sure. Alright, yeah. There's a chance with the whole elite hacksaw thing going on right now. My token, my key wasn't valid or something. You'd be like, you can't stream, you logged out, sir. But we're okay. It's got some like thorny bobs on the top of this. Kinda hurts it. Ow! Son of a bitch! What the fuck? I'm gonna cut this first and then let's put it away. Never to be touched again. Do pumpkins have thorns? Can a pumpkin ever truly love again? Oh, I like splinters. Ow. Cut, 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 and cut. All right, look. Can we see? Can we zoom in? Ow! Ow! Ooh! Well, you can. focus. Yeah, like little teeny. You can kind of see it right here. The little like bumps. Sharp, man. Oh yeah, you can see it. You'll look on the underside here. Look at those. Those are like little teeny tiny thorns that just fucking stabbed me. Ow. Uncalled for, rude. I guess pumpkins have a defense mechanism. Cut me, will ya? But we have bypassed it. We are now, we're in, as Hacker Man would say. And because this is not a carving pumpkin, this is a shaving pumpkin, I'm going to have to turn it to the vertical camera. As long as, if this was a lot thicker than it was, if it was like that would be that much harder, because I'm sitting here like slowly scraping away, and the closer I get to this inner edge, the lighter it will be. So I'm not just cutting it out this time, I'm slowly kind of making my way through. And the larger, the thicker the pumpkin, the more time that's going to take. And I don't want to have to use like hand tools on this, because it will make a mess, and I don't want to make a mess. Got my stuff within arm's reach, and I don't want like pumpkin bits flying all over. And why didn't you do this in like the living room, you fool? Well, that's because it's harder to stream. And that's what I'm doing here, so. Could have got some like plastic sheets, could have gone to like the Gallagher show. There's a reference for you. But I didn't. So if I remember, I'll grab some tarps to put on things on the splash zone here. But the good thing is I've got the LED light puck things that I use. Those are much brighter than a candle. So that'll be handy for this, because I need a lot of bright lights to like shine through. One or two little candles. They're very dim. And by nature of these shaved pumpkins, it's still almost going to be a solid pumpkin, just varying levels of like, you know, it got shaved down on the inside, but there's only going to be like two lights actually letting light out. And what do we say? Maybe on this side. So I'm even going to just kind of a little bit off. Kind of shave it from the back first. Not too much though, because I want to accidentally like punch through the thing. Look at all that. That's, I don't have to cut that off now with my hand tool just a little bit. Ta-da. And I can always return to the back. Return of the back. There it is. Like if I'm like carving from the front, I'm like, oh, it's just not bright enough. It's just still too dim and I'm not making any progress. Then I can kind of get my basic shape down and then thin it out from the insides. What I think I could do. Have I ever done it? I don't think I have. But the theory is sound. At least I think so. Alright, so we're still gonna prep the pattern, same as we always do. This time we're not cutting lines to be cut out except for like his eyes and his nose right here, these parts that are going to actually stay black. Everything else I'm just drawing like borders at which various depths will be cut to. Hopefully it'll make sense. Not only to me, but to you. It'll be funny if I shine a bright light through, it'll just come through his two little eyes. Those will be the only actual holes cut out. I'm repeating myself, I probably said that twice already, but this is kind of so I can remind myself what the hell my game plan is. Kind of like not 100% sturdy. Doesn't need to be though. Like he eventually stays. And I think the pre-orders are still open. There is a Nendroid of this guy that just got, not just got announced, but the pre-orders are open. And I think it's closing soon if it's not already. I believe this particular, he's like yellow and beige colored. And her name is Potato. So there's probably someone watching eventually be like, that the name is inaccurate. It's Potato. And I apologize in advance. Alright, so first let's go to the sky cam. I'm gonna do these because I know 100% these will stay. So this is just like do not touch land, and this part gets cut out entirely. And then I'll just kind of do some dots. These will all get shaved out. Except for this part right here, which will stay as untouched as possible. And then this part too. lighter the color, the deeper down I will have to carve. So it's like the ears. Well, this is like do not touch. Then the next level is barely this. And then this color is a little bit deeper. The windows are a little bit deeper than that. And then this white stripe, the deepest of them all. Getting a little tired in the hand, but that's okay. I'll get stronger. Keep it up. We're only on day 5 of all this hullabaloo. And I've got my pumpkin Dremel, which is just a low-powered version of the real one, which runs on batteries instead of being plugged in. And I don't need much more power than what it gives, because again, I'm just kind of breaking the skin of the pumpkin, because carving tools can't do it. They just kind of glide right off of it. Alright, now I'll just do this window. I'm putting the holes in, like in the zone of the window, because it's going to get like shaved down anyway. So these dots will get theoretically carved out. A little bit. Checking, all of these lines seem to have dots on them. So we will take it off. I think I do want it like one type. This like once a week. I don't know why. In my mind, they're trickier, harder, so I don't just. It's easy for me to just go in and cut stuff. Like in or out, black and white. Of course, that means the design has to be more deliberate. Sometimes it doesn't look as realistic, but it also can be done much faster if you just get the couple right lines. Like, see, man, that looked like a man's face. It didn't take too long because the lines were in the right spot. All right, so now, oh, here we go. Yeah. I can see the windshield there. Oh yeah, there's his eyes. Okay. First, we'll draw the eyes. And the holes. That's his eyes. Maybe I'll cut those out right away. Be the only thing that gets cut. And the rest of the stream can just focus on. See, this line can actually be really thin because I'm just gonna be like carving it out. I'm not gonna be cutting it. It's not gonna be dangling in the air or anything like that. It'll be 100% supported. And viewers like you. I was like, what the heck is that line? That's this little like pattern. Okay. It's kind of weird to see these lines just go right up to each other because usually that's like, no, that's not how it works. These are gonna cut, they're gonna intersect. But today, that's okay. Tire. Little back tires at a weird angle, but that's kind of how they walked in the show. Here's his actual. Okay, so he's got this little dark part on the edge there. That's a narrow little part there. We'll see if that makes it out, makes it to that final cut. All right, well, yeah, there we go. It's drawn on there. It took us 25 minutes to get to this part. You know, I could have probably could have freehand this one, but it wouldn't have looked right. I would have screwed it up somehow. So, first little part that we said we were going to do was just cut out his eye hole. That's the one part that is cut. So let's do that right now, and then we'll say goodbye to our saw for the day. That's kind of how deep this part of the pumpkin is, so it's like cut off this much and it'll be very light, and the less we cut, the darker it'll get. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. So now where do I start? I will just start shaving some parts, I guess. And I've got this. So this is it is a Dremel, and it is a pumpkin Dremel, and it's battery powered instead of being plugged in, so it just runs on double A's, and it's just low or high. And I don't remember if this is the bit that came with it. This is like the carving bit that I had from like my Dremel set. So this is, I just use it to. Because again, I'll show you on the back here, like I can't Watch what will happen. Like I'm kind of like scraping at it, but it's not just like making marks. It's not cutting it off. So, but if I shave the whole thing off at once, I'll be kind of like left like where's my lines? So I'm wondering, do I like do the deepest parts first and then do the lesser parts, or do the I say let's start with like this. Get it kind of deeply. Well, again, we gotta shave it off first. Yeah, we'll just start with this because this is kind of deep. So we'll see what we can do here, and then the rest of these parts we'll kind of put this as like a base point for how deep I want to go, and the rest will be less than that. So we'll just kind of turn it on low here, and I will just now this doesn't make a very smooth cut by any means. Like it looks like wood grain when you turn off the light. So the actual hand tools do help it smooth out. And there's little bits flying all over the place. You can kind of see it. They're not going too far. It's getting all over my arm. So I can kind of use this to get relatively as deep as I want to go, and then I smooth things out with the hand tools. You see this okay? Alright, yeah, I'm making sure. Very cool, right? Thank you. Slow against these like lines. I want to. Closest thing to being actually able to just draw on a pumpkin, so I'm making the lines look nice if I can make them. And once I get this first little layer out, like I technically could stop. It's easier if I was using a freaking power tool right now. But now, once this like layer of flesh is off, I can just start technically peeling stuff out, and it'll come out relatively easily. It's kind of smooth. And I'll notice like parts are a lot lighter or darker than others, so I'll have to like go back in and even out the depth. Don't get too hasty here. Like I'm trying to, oh, maybe if I just move my hands faster, but it doesn't like cut as smooth or deeply, so it ends up being kind of like a real sloppy cut, and I gotta end up cutting it anyway, and smoothing it out. So this is that one, and I guess this, I'll just do this part too, because it's all the same depth. And this will be the deepest, darkest carves. And I really gotta make sure I wash up when I'm done here, because there's little particles going everywhere. Look at, see the paper right here, it's getting like orange and stuff. So let's kind of do this again. I can drill down in here deep. I remember, if you remember, that little piece of cone was like that long, so it's, I barely, literally scratched the surface here. It's getting, I don't want to say it's getting pretty deep. At this point, it's like, now it's kind of like worrying, second guessing. Oh, it's not about to punch through. I doubt it. Like, I can feel back there. I'm kind of nowhere near it. It's not. I can't feel like my finger almost making it out or something like that. So. Blech. Like applesauce. So we'll start with that. I don't know if you can see like how deep. Come on, camera. But a centimeter or so. And this is nowhere near. Again, this was just kind of scratched off the rind. So I'm gonna go back and redo this whole part to that depth. And this is on low. I could turn it on high. It would probably go faster. It would be a mess. I'm starting to like remember. Did I ever put it on high? And the high on this thing is low. Like maybe less than low compared to like a conventional plug-in actual treble has, RPM wise. And that just melts through it. So if I was in like a garage or something and I could just afford to make a gigantic mess, I would try that. I don't know if it'd be fun to listen to. That thing wears its way to victory. Just eyeballing this depth here, kind of like looking at the part I just came from, being like, is it deeper than it was before? It seems about the same. I'll never know until I shine a light through here. to get some batteries just in case. I think I've been using this thing for like a year or two now. I only use it, you know, maybe an hour at a time when I'm streaming, but and then I take it out and let it sit for another year. But I wonder how much life these guys got left in them, so I hate to like die in the middle of the stream. I could go get the plug-in one. What a mess that would make. Careful I don't touch. Careful right around this little nose part. This is the part that I want to keep untouched and as dark as a line as possible. Yeah, because usually I'm like just cutting out a solid chunk and then it goes into the garbage, but this time these chunks just go on my arm. He's got a very worried expression right now. Like, what are you doing? You're carving my face. That's what he's thinking, but we just hear. Alright, yeah, that looks good, right? We're almost done. No, I don't think so. Oh, the tires and the mouth, they're about the same. Oh, shoot. Let's just do it. Excuse me. Ooh, wait up. Then these, okay. First, it's breaking off on the outer rind. And then go back in and just carve the flesh away, as one does. Oh man, those bits went everywhere. Alright, they're not even on my table, so that's good. They didn't get far. They're probably all over my floor. I'll be vacuuming after this stream. One too. These cuts are the deepest ones that we'll have to do. Everything else is just a little bit less. Gonna make a series of plateaus. Whoa, 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 whoa. Get away from me there. Pretty much the depths of the bit is what I'm doing, going in here. Once it's kind of like the head of the bit is in the pumpkin spot as far down as I'm going right now. stop for a second, kind of see where we're at. That's where we're at. Got some bits on the floor, I see. Whatever. Alright, so that's not taking too long yet. Wipe off my arm. Oh, I got like Cheeto hands now. And then see if I just kind of like bleh. Maybe it's another reason why I don't do this as much, as it just makes a mess. We got like pumpkin pie on the table here, and I'm running low on paper towels. I'm gonna have to grab more in a bit. So let's just try to use my large circular one here to just kind of get out the bits that were in there. See, now they come off in like thin flakes instead, because I'm using this clay carving device, doohickey. So it just kind of, rather than just drills it into mush, it peels it off. Elegant. But it's like, that part's a little too thick, that little narrow valley right there. So I'll come back to that in just a second. I have a smaller circle that I can use instead. And if I really need to, which I might, I forget what shape it was, but I just crushed it. So it's like almost just a very sharp, very narrow. I can get anywhere. Clean setup. What we got beside Mr. Jazzy Jazz here? No idea. Well, you know what? We can probably like shine a light and take a little light break here. Because I can see like this, and then it kind of slopes up, so this part is not as deeply carved yet. And technically, like these lines in the pumpkin, you know, they're raised, these veins that are in there, they come up and down too, so they kind of affect. Like right here, there's like a vein, for lack of a better term. Right here, it's kind of a pain to carve. Part's a little narrower, so come at it with a smaller circle ring. And because this isn't 100% like flat and it's not all even, it'll end up being some like inadvertent shading going on here, which will be kind of cool. Some people will actually do this a lot better than I do. you know, they use that to their advantage and do a lot of good shading on good pumpkin. Kind of curious to see what this looks like. Oh, I didn't really clean this part up. Okay. Gonna wipe out some of it here. Wipe out. Make sure this kind of goes right up to the edge. We get a nice clean line on that nose. Alright. Let's turn off the lights just to see what this looks like. Let's put on dark or something. There we go. Hey, look at that. All right, that is better than I had already kind of hoped for. I didn't even do the wheels yet, but you can see with the lights pointing directly at the camera. I guess this thing went into like low light mode. That's why the whole thing is a damn lantern. But that's good. And if that's as white as it gets and everything else gets a couple shades darker, I think we're in business here. So I'm not too worried about having to go deeper than this. In fact, I shan't. So if it was like, you could barely see, if I put that light in there and it was still just like a dark pumpkin, we'd be in trouble. I'm living moss. Give me a second, I'm gonna grab more paper towel. And we're back. Okay, so first I don't want to leave this goopy mess. Let's kind of clean it up each round. Ugh. Now I know to put a layer of this stuff down. I'm not too, I don't care about this table itself. Like it can get dirty. Alright, so I guess light back on. Okay, so well, I guess let's clean out the wheels. I mean, they looked good. I'm just gonna give them a little extra loving right now, so I can forget about them. A little narrow part there. I'll use my narrow tool. All right. I don't think I'll be coming back to this part, so I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit more. Oh wait, yes I am. Because these parts, I mean, I could leave them black, but I'm not going to. They're a little, technically a little bit browner, a little darker there, so I'm gonna just shave it down a little bit. And I'm just doing this here. Doesn't have to be much, just to get it slightly darker than black shade. So just clean it up a bit. You can see it's still magnitudes taller in terms of, I don't know if magnitudes, but noticeably different. So it'll be slightly lighter than black. Just all we need. And then we'll do this mouth part too. Ugh. Clean that off. I don't want to get too much gunk all over these tools. This part is a similar thing, it's just a little bit different. Darker shade, so, and then the rest of it's done. So I'm kind of not necessarily going in order from like lightest to darkest or whatever. Just go where I'm needed. So yeah, here's the deepest part, and here it is less than the black line, so that's fine. His outer wheel and his two ears are going to be, and we'll do his windows first, because they're the next brightest parts. Now this one can be about the same because it doesn't touch, but this one it borders, so I want it to be a little bit different. At least there's no like shapes or lines I'm worrying about here. I'm just carving out a square, a rectangle. So that's probably about as deep as I will go for the ears, and then a little bit deeper for his like tan body. But we need to go like almost to the hilt of this thing. So I'm gonna do a couple more passes here. Buckle up. And the way this thing like rotates, it's easier to cut from like right to left. And these kind of motions do the most, I don't want to do the most damage, but they get the most results. More like this kind of, doesn't seem to be doing as much. That's a lot of damage. Or just, hacking away like this, that works too. Sketching. That seems about deep enough there, so I'll now try to match that depth. Just kind of go back and forth, and if it's not deep enough, it should cut some, and if it does, it'll just kind of glide over it. If my hand was entirely steady and level, which probably not. Whoa. I'll do this one too while I'm at it. So this one I can go right up to the line here. Like I don't need to keep a border line per se or outline. grind off first, and then I can go back. It's easier to cut through in a second. And outer skin to protect themselves. Who would have thought? Why isn't this part coming off? It's being kind of annoying. There we go. I'll leave a slight little edge there so we can have like a somewhat of a line. Alright, that seems relatively deep enough. Ew. There's my small circle. What's my large circle? It's under here. Gotcha. Just kind of clean it up. You know, now that I'm smart and I put paper towels underneath, I can just pick it up when I'm done. And I can very clearly just compare how deep this is to that, so let's make sure it's not as deep. It already isn't, so we're good. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Oh, just a nice square. That's just nice. Or a rectangle again. Just a nice open shape. I can just cut. Just strokes, and that's it. Nothing to worry about curves or valleys or anything like that. Don't get too many of those though, so I appreciate it when it's here. That's right, little windshield. I appreciate you. Seems like it's deeper here than right here, so I'm gonna just kind of. There we go. And the way this kind of circle is shaped, it always leaves like a little bit of a edge shape there, so it's kind of like a brush tool. It's a little bit lighter just on the edge there, so that's nice. So we got the lightest white and then the second brightest windshield here. So now it's just his yes. This pattern right here will be just slightly less deeper than these windows are. And then his ears and this little tire will be just about the same as this. I just take off the rind and we're done. So He has a little bit on his butt too, I can't forget that. I don't like, that cuts more, but I don't feel much control in the depth, so I'm going to kind of start a little bit low, sweep back and forth, and work my way up. I don't need to keep these lines here. This is up there for my reference, so I can just cut right up to the edge and just make sure that I have a definite difference in the depth. Notice to be different than these eyes, which are staying untouched so that they can be the darkest part on the design. Losing my spot, that's good. Sometimes I like to lose track of where I need to go or how deep I need to keep things. So far we're good. Alright, just gonna wipe it down real quick so I get a better idea of where we're at. It kind of looks like he's furry right now because of all the little bits and pieces on him, like he's got that flecked. Now you can see this bunch of parts that I haven't even gotten to yet. Ew, gross. Get off my grill. So now we'll just go in and go deeper. And we'll finish it off with the hand tool. Yeah, this whole cheek here, I barely got any parts off, so the rind is still kind of half on there. It's kind of cool. If I would have put a light through it right now, it would look like it's made of wood. It's got that, it will have that wood grain. That's kind of how this tool ends up marking things. Now I'm just swiping back and forth and see if it catches anything. It's harder than the pumpkin flesh. Ah! Just cut into his eye. Ah! Ah! Alright, we can fix it. We can fix it. Just, there we go. We're okay. We're okay. Now we'll just clear all this out so I can admire how deep these holes are. Especially this. So I'll just clean this up, I think. So I'm not gonna take too much off. I mean, just by doing this, take some extra bits off, but and when I get to the light, almost white, once I get to that, I think we're okay. Once it's still kind of the darker orange, still bits of rind on that I don't want. A little bit deeper than these ears because I know those are going to kind of come off next. Wasn't too bad. The hardest part was this part because I'm like worried about how deep it's got to be, and it's kind of skinny and there's curves in it. These parts are a lot wider open, so I can tell how deep they are and less guesswork. Tool. I really am just kind of eyeballing this, or just assuming this is going to work based on these levels after doing that one light test. You can look at it and tell, like, this is here, but this is deeper, and this is still a smidge more off, just so. If this ends up being like, nah, because when I put that light in there, even the whole pumpkin's glowing. So it's not like this is going to end up being like totally dark and you won't see anything. I make sure my shades stand out from each other. It's got this weird vein going down his face. That's going to be kind of creepy. Still very close to the top, so I'm just going a little extra more over here. I haven't really carved it down yet. See, now that window is kind of blending in right there, so I'm gonna see if I got actually look triangular. I'm gonna take a little sharp edge to it and just really let that stand out. Make sure it's deeper. Kind of the same with this edge now. I see it's kind of nice. It's really rounded, so I'm just gonna give it kind of a harsher edge. Try not to cut yourself on this edge. What is going on? What's up there? Oh, is that Michael? Missile C4? I hope that's not a bot. I hope you're real. I've gotten so many like Pablo 5, Pablo 6, Pablo 7, 8, 9, 10. There wasn't 20 of those in a row, so. Welcome. No matter who you are, following or not, just popping in. I don't know if you can hear the pumpkin scratches or not, but if that's what that's your jam, good for you. And can you hear it? Can you hear it? Maybe I'll carve like a giant ear and then I will clean it. Alright, so next is just his butt, his ear, and his other ear and his other tire, which are just surface level. Chill out now. Alright, that's it. All I want to do is break the skin, and then I'll go over it with just to scrape some off. Hopefully the shape is still very distinct. Just a little bit more help here. Part right around the ear, I'm going to shave down to a little bit more definition. Oh yeah, you can see it already. I think it's shaved. I think it's okay. Don't worry, I'm real. Well, that's good to hear. I've just been so paranoid lately. Not really paranoid, like I'm not like, oh my god, the bots are coming from me, but I think there's been a couple times I've been like, oh, thanks. Some of them it's just like anonymous viewer 5, and I'm like, is that just a clever name, or is it just... I know they have a lot of issues with bots right now. I don't want to assume you're a bot. How many bots are patrolling the pumpkin circuit? That's for sure. I'm just cleaning these off because I'm going to remove the white paper towel just to help the pumpkin stand out against just the black table. We'll get some water, kind of, yeah. Doesn't need to be super clean to have everything like shine through. So it's kind of real gently, just kind of get some Q-tips. See, if this were a standard pumpkin, all these little like flecks and bits would be very visible, and it would like give it really jagged lines, but again, I don't know if it's I don't know how it'll show up. White. And if this is your first time popping in, this is the first time this year I'm doing the this sort of shave and carve away method. Usually it's just kind of going in with a knife and cutting out pieces. Not as like painstaking as this, but I always want to give some other things some tries. it is almost time for the big reveal. We got some hype music here. Sure, why not? Are you not hyped? So, what's it gonna look like? That. Okay. The lights. Oh, I actually have to forget to pop out his one little eyeball. Forgot that I didn't do that. This one. There we go. Okay. Everything's looking good. Kill these lights here. How are we gonna do this? How do we always do this? I'm just assuming this is gonna look good. I'm like, oh, big reveal time. Alright, so I got my little LED puck lights that are really handy for a bright thing like this. Put them in like so. Stand them up so that they are facing, kind of standing on the wall, facing towards the front instead of just being on the bottom and facing up. We have our lid. Doing all this one-handed, kind of making a mess. Oh my god, look at my hand. Look how orange it is. Ugh. Kill the lights. Oh yeah, look, it's glowing. Okay, so here we go. Molcar. Pui Pui Molcar. 3, 2. Oh, let's move these towels here. Okay, nice clean screenshot. 3, 2, 1. You can see it looks like he's got like meme eyes, like the way if I push it just like that and they kind of glow, like he's coming for you, like, oh yeah. So I guess like that's the way, but that's still the brightest. So the shades. Okay, so you can't really see. I see like little skin flecks here, but you can kind of really. That wasn't hype enough. Synthy track we got going on here. There we go. So I'm liking it, yeah. So here we got pretty much dark. This was the darkest parts in his eyes. They're not super. They're not like black like they are in the picture. I think it's just because of this camera. Like, what if I were to the top ones a little bit? See how it is. There we go. That's. It looks a little darker here. Where's my finger? There we go. Very black, very dark. This is still technically darker than this, which is good. That's all I really wanted. The wheels were whatever. I cut his eye off. You can't even tell. And this is all kind of the same shade. So this, and again, this is darker than that, which is all it needed to be. Yeah, very cool. Well, there you go. So that took an hour and a half. And so anything about this level of complicatedness. So it's, you know, just larger areas. If this was like a face and I was doing all kinds of like definition and stuff, I don't know if I ever will be able to pull that off. Sometimes I have to like get it to this part right here, like put the light in here, turn the lights off, and then I start carving just to like actively see how bright things are. It's kind of weird. It's like wet, you know. It thinks like pumpkin, this is dry, but then you touch here, it's like kind of wet and slimy. So, yay! Yay, go me! Air horn. Woo-woo! So, what do you think? You think it's cute? I'm happy to hear that. That's about it for today. Turn the light on real quick. So I'm thinking, what will I do tomorrow? Tomorrow I might just do drawing to draw more, because I have to have a couple more for this weekend. Maybe I'll do this weird tanuki because I want to see how this works out. So this is kind of the opposite. This is like a design that's all carved out. This is just a bunch of weirdly, narrow, totally cut out shapes on black, and hopefully it'll end up looking like a tanuki statue, which I have over here, so I can like pull it out and see if he looks got the same face. Maybe I'll do something different. You never know. I'm looking at what else I got here, and I think that's about it. This guy I'm gonna do on Friday. Another one for Saturday. So if I do one tomorrow, Thursday, it'll be the tanuki, but I might just be popping out on Photoshop. So this time maybe I'll do both. It's like try to get on like 7 o'clock to draw, maybe, and then we can carve it the normal 9 o'clock. We shall see. So thanks for popping by. We got a Molcar. He's dancing for you. Thanks for stopping by. As always, I will post this archive on my YouTube, which is my username here. My name JT with a V at the end. JTV. My name JTV. And this VOD will be up in the meantime. See you soon. Have a great night.